The basilica's altar was a merciless stage of white marble and gold leaf, framed by thousands of lilies that smelled like extravagant indifference. Aurelia Rossi was seated in the third row on the bride's side, an agonizing choice she had made to show she was past the pain, only to find herself captive to it. She adjusted the borrowed velvet dress that felt more like a costume than clothing. Her thoughts clung to Leo, her son, currently safe with her friend. Every expensive detail, the hushed applause, the silk rustle of the guests, was a reminder of what she couldn't afford and what she had lost. The shame was suffocating. Her ex-fiancé, Julian, stood ready, radiating the effortless success she had only dreamed of for their family. Her bride, a woman whose dynasty controlled half the city's commerce, smiled with cool triumph. Aura felt the weight of every judgmental gaze, knowing they were all discussing the librarian who'd been cast aside. Then her grandmother, a woman whose disapproval was a physical weight, leaned close. "Aura, you look utterly destroyed. Don't you know everyone here is pitying you?" The final, brutal observation was the trigger. The effort to remain composed shattered. Aura didn't just feel the tears, she felt the ragged, uncontrollable sobs escape. She had failed to maintain her dignity. She was crying openly, helplessly, a beacon of misery under the cold light of the altar. She was alone, shamed, and utterly broken when the shadow fell over her. A voice, deep and commanding, cut through the quiet. Enough. Aurelia couldn't lift her head through the humiliation. Mascara running, her grandmother's horror burning in her peripheral vision. But the shadow didn't move. The voice came again, impossibly calm. "Stop crying. You're coming home with me." She looked up. Alessandro Volpe stood above her, dressed in a charcoal suit that screamed wealth, but his stillness radiated something predatory. His dark eyes held hers with intensity that stopped her tears mid-breath. "I don't know you," she whispered. "You don't need to." His hand extended, not requesting but commanding. "Stand up." Every rational instinct screamed warnings, but the shattered part of her that had nothing left took his hand. His grip was possessive as he pulled her to her feet. Heads turned, her grandmother gasped. At the altar, Julian faltered, his eyes widening with recognition and fear. Alessandro placed his hand on her back and guided her down the aisle, through erupting whispers. Outside, a black Mercedes idled at the curb. She stopped on the marble steps. "Wait, my son, Leo, he's with a friend. I can't just—" Address, not a question. "What?" "Your son's location. He'll be brought to you within the hour." Something shifted in Alessandro's eyes. "I have your word." "I don't know who you are." "Alessandro Volpe, and you're Aurelia Rossi, 29, university librarian, mother to Leonardo, age 4. Renting a one-bedroom you can barely afford. Julian left you pregnant. Your family blames you." He guided her toward the car. "I make it my business to know things. Right now, my business is removing you from this spectacle. If you agree that it is inappropriate to treat vulnerable women like public entertainment, hit the subscribe button and let me know in the comments. Type, "Nobody deserves that." Because what happened next only got worse.
The Mercedes interior was leather and silence. Aura pressed against the door, while Alessandro reviewed reports on his tablet like this was a normal afternoon. "This is insane," she said. "I need to go back." "To what? Sit through dinner while everyone whispers about how pathetic you looked?" He glanced at her. "You were suffering. I stopped it. That's the transaction." "There is no transaction. You can't claim people." "Can't I?" Pure statement of fact. You needed rescue. I provided it. Now you'll come to my home, collect yourself, and when your son arrives, decide whether you want to continue barely surviving on a librarian's salary or accept the alternative I'm offering. Which is what? Protection, stability, a life where you're not one missed paycheck from eviction. He returned to his tablet. In exchange, you'll be mine.
Alessandro's penthouse occupied the entire top floor of Wolf Tower. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered vertigo-inducing views. A woman in black uniform appeared immediately. "Mr. Volpe, the guest suite. East Wing. And have the driver contact Miss Rossi about her son. I want the boy here within the hour." Aura called Maria, her explanation awkward and impossible. When she hung up, Alessandro was watching from across the room, amber liquor in hand. "Your friend thinks you've lost your mind." "Have I?" "Possibly. But you're here. Sit down. We need to discuss terms." "There are no terms." "Sit down." Command absolute. She perched on the leather sofa. Alessandro remained standing, deliberate power dynamic. "Your ex-fiancé works for the Cardelli family. Victoria Cardelli isn't a love match. She's a merger. You were collateral damage of his ambition. A librarian with a child doesn't advance his career." The clinical assessment made her chest tight. "Why tell me this?" "Because you need to understand what you walked away from. Julian chose power and money. I'm making the same offer, but I'm honest about it. You'll live here. You and your son won't for nothing. In return, you belong to me. Under my protection, which means under my rules. And if I say no, I'll have you driven home, and we'll never speak again." His expression didn't change, but we both know you can't afford to say no.
Leo arrived 53 minutes later with Maria, who insisted on escorting him. "Mama, this car had TVs!" Leo's enthusiasm was unburdened by understanding. Maria's expression was pure judgment. "Aura, what the hell? This place, that man! You need to explain. I just need you to trust me." "Trust you? You disappeared with some dangerous man into a penthouse." Alessandro appeared, and Maria's words died. He looked at Leo with an unreadable expression. "Leonardo, I'm Alessandro. Your mother and I are acquainted. I'll make sure you both have everything you need." Leo studied him fearlessly. "You're really tall. Are you a giant?" "No, just tall. Almost a smile." "Are you hungry? My chef can prepare whatever you'd like." "Dinosaur nuggets?" "I'm certain we can arrange that." Maria pulled Aura aside. "This man is dangerous. Whatever you think you're doing." "I'm surviving, making sure my son has stability, That's all. By selling yourself to a probable criminal? Julian sold me to poverty and shame. At least Alessandro is honest about the transaction. If you believe everyone deserves dignity, regardless of their bank account, hit that subscribe button. People like Julian won't, and you need to hear what she did about it.
3 days of strange domesticity followed. Alessandro was gone most days, but present for breakfast and Leo's bedtime. On the 4th morning, Aura made a mistake. She needed clothes from her apartment and convinced herself a quick trip would be harmless. The apartment looked smaller, sadder. She was packing when she heard movement behind her. Aurelia Rossi. A man in an expensive suit stood in her doorway, radiating threat. "I hear you've been spending time with Alessandro Volpi. Interesting. Volpi and my employer have disagreements. I think you might help us resolve them." Terror flooded through her. "I need you to leave." "I'll leave, but we'll be watching. You and that little boy. Leonardo, isn't it? Would be a shame if something happened because Volpi made poor choices. Get out right now." He raised his hands mockingly. "Just remember, you're involved now. Tell Volpi that Orlov sends his regards." She called Alessandro with shaking hands. He answered immediately. "Where are you?" "My apartment. Someone was here, threatened Leo." The silence was worse than shouting. "Don't move. My team will be there in 5 minutes." "Alessandro, who is Orlov?" "Someone who just made a fatal mistake." Alessandro arrived before his security team, moving through her apartment like a storm, checking everything. "Tell me exactly what he said." She repeated it. Alessandro's jaw tightened. "Orlov. Russian syndicate, pushing into territory they don't own. I've been discouraging them. They decided to respond by targeting you." "Why me? I'm nobody." "You're with me. That makes you somebody." He typed on his phone. "This apartment isn't safe. We're moving you to the estate. 40 acres, walls, security systems, armed guards. It's where I go when business gets complicated." He looked at her with something she hadn't seen before. Concern. "I won't let them touch you or your son, but you need to trust me." "Why are you doing this? You could walk away." "No, I can't." The estate was a fortress disguised as elegance. Sprawling villa, manicured grounds, subtle security measures. That night, after Leo was asleep, Aura confronted Alessandro in his study. "Tell me the truth. What do you do?" "I run businesses. Import, export, real estate. Some exist in legal gray areas. Some don't." "You're in the Mafia?" Dramatic term for a diversified portfolio. "But yes, I'm what people call a boss. I control territory, manage operations through means that wouldn't pass legal scrutiny." "And you brought me and my son into this?" "Orlov brought you into this. I'm trying to get you out." He cupped her face gently. "I've done many things I'm not proud of, but I will not let anything happen to you or your son, not because of me." "Why do you care?" "Because when I saw you crying, I saw someone who'd been judged and discarded by people with no right to judge. someone who deserved better. His thumb traced her cheekbone. And because the moment I touched you, something in me decided you were mine to protect. Comment, everyone deserves protection if you're Team Aurelia. The danger won't stop. Now watch what happens when he finally fights back. The meeting with Orlov happened 3 days later. In a neutral warehouse, Aura watched from security feeds, heart in her throat. Dmitry Orlov was silver-haired, distinguished, flanked by armed men. Volpe, thank you for meeting. I didn't agree, I demanded. Alessandro's voice was cold. You threatened someone under my protection. That requires a response. The librarian makes you vulnerable, Alessandro. No, she makes me motivated. Here's what's happening. You're leaving my territory, recalling every operation, and ensuring Aurelia Rossi and her son are never mentioned, approached, or thought about again. And if I refuse, I'll dismantle everything you've built, your shipping contracts, political connections, your family in Moscow discovering what you've been hiding. I'll make you irrelevant, Dmitry, all because you threaten someone I've claimed. Silence stretched. Orlov's expression shifted to something like respect. You'd start a war over a woman. I'd end one. Your choice, peace and departure, or destruction. Orlov studied him, then nodded. The woman and child are yours, untouched. You have my word, backed by signed documents transferring your disputed properties. Insurance. Agreed.
2 weeks later, Aura's family came to dinner. Mother, grandmother, sister, even her estranged father. They arrived confused, taking in the grandeur. Alessandro greeted them with perfect courtesy. Dinner was surreal until Leo climbed into Alessandro's lap during dessert, chattering about the garden and the library Alessandro had built for Aura. Her mother's expression softened watching them. After dessert, Alessandro stood. I'm not a good man. I won't pretend to be. But your daughter and her son have given me something I didn't know I was looking for, a reason to build something better. He moved to Aura's chair, kneeling. Her hands flew to her mouth as he opened a ring box, revealing a captured fire diamond. Aurelia Rossi, 2 weeks ago, I commanded you to come home with me. But I'm asking now, not because you need saving, but because I need you. Marry me. Make this permanent. Choose this life, this home, this future with me. The room was silent. Aura thought about the woman crying at an altar 2 weeks ago, certain she was unclaimable, and the woman she was now, protected, valued, loved by a man who'd proven through action she was worth fighting for. Yes, she whispered, then louder, yes. Alessandro slipped the ring on and pulled her into his arms. The kiss was possessive, thorough, indifferent to their audience. When they broke apart, her grandmother was fanning herself, her mother crying, Leo cheering. Welcome home, Alessandro murmured against her lips. And for the first time in years, Aura believed she truly was